Most debut albums follow a familiar formula: relentless studio sessions, networking, and industry hustle. But Rewind and Gravel Roads arrived through a completely different mechanism. Long before a single track was laid down for these records, the artist had actually walked away from music, leaving a potential publishing contract behind to pursue an entirely different life. The odds of half-finished lyrics surviving decades packed away in boxes, outlasting a demanding corporate career and the chaos of raising a family, are incredibly slim. These songs are the result of a chain reaction that took decades to reach its conclusion, a sprawl of decisions that eventually interconnected into a single story. To understand the inspiration behind these tracks, you have to bypass the recording studios of California and trace a sequence of events that started 800 miles away. The timeline begins in Minneapolis during the creator's college years at Augsburg. He was writing songs with a friend named Mark, and when a local band recorded one of their tracks, the abstract idea of a music career became a visible road he felt meant to follow. Instead of booking a flight to a major music hub to chase that momentum, he made an impromptu decision to move west by taking on a grueling physical challenge. The strategy was straightforward: a Fuji road bicycle and a friend willing to endure the miles. This map tracks the physical toll of that choice. They pedaled exactly 800 miles over 8 days, finally reaching Sterling, Colorado. The terrain dictated the next move. The Rocky Mountains presented a geographic wall that made continuing on 2 wheels impossible. To bypass the elevation, they found a secondary mode of transport. They loaded the bikes into a weathered Pontiac station wagon to cover the remaining distance to California. The journey effectively severed the ties to his life in Minneapolis, replacing a familiar environment with a horizon of new variables. Arriving on the West Coast meant dropping into a completely different culture and environment, and it was here that a critical random variable occurred: an unplanned meeting with a former schoolmate from Wisconsin who had already moved to California. When they made plans to catch up, that schoolmate brought along a friend named Christine. 2 years later, they were married. With a family on the way, the priorities of his daily life shifted towards stability and responsibility. The immediate need to build a foundation took priority, and the pursuit of a music publishing contract was quietly set aside. He moved into automobile sales, then into corporate management, and eventually real estate, focusing on raising 3 children who would grow up to become entrepreneurs themselves. To an outside observer, the music had stopped. But as he navigated the working world for decades, he was inadvertently gathering the experiences that would eventually fill those old notebooks. Years later, after stepping away from the daily noise of corporate management, he finally opened those stored-away boxes and pulled out his original notebooks. Reading through those faded, handwritten pages, he found that the half-finished thoughts drafted by a past version of himself still held a recognizable pulse. Those dormant lyrics were finally taken off the page and recorded, becoming the fully realized tracks on the albums Rewind and Gravel Roads. The records operate as a kind of sonic archive. You can hear snapshots of Minneapolis, echoes of California, and reflections of that long drive in the Pontiac. The years spent navigating the risks of business and the responsibilities of family gave the songs an emotional depth that the lyrics originally lacked. Rewind and Gravel Roads suggest that the detours and abandoned plans of a life are often the specific ingredients required to eventually give a dream its true voice.